Right, welcome to the Beige Planet Podcast. I'm Paul Pate.
I'm Al Lawrence.
And hello to our special guest, Greg Wright,
Hello.
the writer. So I'm not going to try to introduce you. I'm going to let you tell us about yourself, Greg.
Okay. I am an assistant professor at Davenport University, and the book that I want to talk about is Wild Bullets. It's coming out in May from Michigan Comics Collective, and there's a number of artists that are involved in it, but let me just give you the quick pitch for it. Basically, it's a bunch of siblings who are all pulp adventurers. They don't get along, and so one is a detective, one's an archaeologist, one's a mad scientist, and one's a monster hunter. They normally are very dysfunctional, but they go over to their parents' house for Thanksgiving dinner, and of course there's a murder. So they got to solve it, they got to work together, and each one of them takes a turn telling their story, and it's a different artist for each section, more in the style of that genre.
All right, the detective is telling his side of the story?
Yeah, so you have the detective taking over for like a crime section,
right,
which is very gritty, and then you've got the archaeologist taking over from one that's more like an adventure,
right.
Kind of Indiana Jones, and then the mad scientist has a sci-fi section, and the monster hunter wraps it all up with a horror section at the end of it all.
All right, so different genres all in one put together.
Absolutely, yeah.
That
And
sounds really kick-ass.
oh, thank you. And their names are the Bullets. That's the last name of the Bullets, and I don't think it's spoiling anything to say that their solutions to their problems all involve gunplay. So
Right, which is always fun. I mean,
when you're on the giving rather than the receiving end, of course.
It's fun in books.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long how many pages is it, or what's the format? How big is it? Is it like like a typical comic book, or?
It's a little bit longer than that. It's a 35-page one-shot,
Okay.
and each of the artists has an 8-page section, and then there's like a 3-page just sort of normal introduction to everybody at the beginning of it.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, is it classified as a graphic novel?
I would call it a comic book one-shot. I'm not sure.
Okay.
You know,
I'm not familiar with that term, but
Sure. It was just like it's a self-contained story. It's not like the first issue of a 5-issue series or anything like that.
In comic book world, like 20 pages is a typical comic now. And then, but yeah, it's always like cliffhanger at the end and wait till next month's episode, you
Right.
know. But this is like comic book one shot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
I think, if I were with the right crowd at the right coffee shop, I might call it a graphic novel. I don't know.
All right.
I think it's a little bit short to be called a graphic novel.
Probably.
Otherwise, it would be a graphic novel, right?
Right. Yeah.
Not to nitpick. I don't care. But it sounds
Well,
cool.
you're nitpicking.
Okay. Well, to nitpick.
No,
It sounds cool. So where can we get it?
Okay.
Or when?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
When and where can we get it?
May 15th, and you can get it through the Michigan Comics Collective website, which is michigancomicscollective.org. The print version is going to be $3.99, and digital is $1.49. And the digital will be available through a website called drivethroughcomics.com.
All right, cool.
Right. Those websites will be added
Yeah.
for everyone.
We'll put a link to all of those.
Cool.
That's awesome. It sounds cool. Have you ever heard of Comixology?
Yes, yeah.
Did you?
I'm sure that it will eventually be on Comixology. It's just their process of submission takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, it takes a lot longer.
Take a lot longer.
What was that?
If I can just appease the Comixology gods, right? I want to say good things about them, so it goes faster.
Yeah, no, because I have one of my books on there, and I submitted it, and it took a super long time. And I mean, I was not expecting a whole lot, and it made it on there, so I was grateful. I I do not know if I've sold one or not. I don't know where to find that information.
That reminds me of a Simpsons episode where Marge Simpson says, "If I write a novel, will somebody tell me when it's going to come out?"
Yeah. All right. So now we met you through, or I kind of was introduced to you through, and it's as if you know Al already. So indirectly, right? Family and whatnot.
Indirectly.
But
Right.
Through a friend of the show, Ken Lamoog, and you guys worked together on Monstrous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And since we've got the video component here, I can share some images. I'm also going to share some images from the artist of Wild Bullets, but I thought I could put this up here. This is Monstrous with like you said, Ken Lamoog and myself. Here's the second issue of Monstrous there. There's a third one, but we haven't got it printed just yet.
Oh no.
So yeah, I will. I can talk about the artists of Wild Bullets and some stuff that they've got.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
I thought this would be a lot cooler, like show and tell. But
Wait, that's cool right there. That's
yeah,
awesome.
This is the first anthology from the Michigan Comics Collective, and the first artist in the series of Wild Bullets. His name is Sean Seal, and he has like a painting background. I'm going to hold up another one of the. This is a different cover for the anthology, and his image is right here in the middle.
Okay.
He has like a very painterly style, and he's working on a number of different projects, but this is one that I can hold up for him here. He's doing the crime section, and he's also doing the colors for another project that's coming out in right now called Up the River.
Uh-huh.
He's doing the colors for that, and the line work, the pencils and inks, is from Steve Shar, who is doing the science fiction section of Wild Bullets. So the two of them are collaborating with one of the founders of Michigan Comics Collective, Travis McIntyre.
Okay.
And Steve's is a very sort of classic comic book look.
Uh-huh.
And
Wait, that one you Up the River. Who was the artist for that one again?
his name is Steve Shar, and then Sean Seal's doing the colors, and both of those guys are involved with Wild Bullets.
Is that right there? What you're holding up? Is that a poster?
Yeah, this is a poster. This was for their
Okay.
Kickstarter, which was really very successful. It raised over like $4,000, and that should be coming out also May 15th at the Motor City Comic Con.
Right. Motor City Comic Con. So you guys, are you getting a table?
Yep.
Awesome. That's really cool, man.
Where's that at?
Motor City.
Motor City. Good answer.
What is the exact building?
I think it's the convention center in Dearborn, I want to say.
Okay. Because I was when you say Motor City, I'm thinking maybe Cobo or Joe Louis.
It's not at either of those. It is more on the outskirts. I know that much.
Okay.
Are you thinking about crashing it out?
It could happen.
May 15th. I'm writing this down.
Maybe we can go on a
I think
beige
it becomes like a
field
wrecking
trip.
ball.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good good idea, Al. Beige Planet
Field trip. Yep.
Special comic book correspondence.
Yeah, we
you
could,
have so many people eager to talk to you. I know it.
yeah, take a recording device and go down there and.
Yeah. I think it'd be
If I-
fun.
What date is the 15th?
I want to tell you about a couple artists who were. It's the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of that. The 15th, I think, is the Saturday, so I think it's the 14th, 15th, and 16th that.
Nope.
Motor-
15th is the Friday.
Oh, it's a Friday. Okay, then it's 15th, 16th, 17th.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun. So who you got? So wait a minute. We got Sean Seal,
Sean Seal,
and
Yeah.
Steve Shar.
right, and also there's Jason Jimenez. He's got kind of like this action movie style to the comics, and I don't have one with me, but it's apparently in the process of shipping. He was part of an anthology. He was part of the Comics Collective anthology, but he's also part of another anthology called Unlawful Good. He and I both have stories in that. It's a crime comics anthology that's due to come out this month. And in terms of the people who are doing the pens and inks, there's also Joe Frere, who has kind of a manga anime style, and he's doing the horror section. He's also working with me on a horror anthology that the Comics Collective is putting out in October called 13 Little Hells. And my story for that one is called Cubicle of the Demon God. He's doing the art and I do the story. So.
Nice.
Okay.
13 Little Hells. It's like my kids. I think I'm.
Yeah.
I don't think I have 13 though.
Right, yeah. That sounds like middle school somehow to me. 13.
Yeah. So, tell us about the Michigan Comics Collective.
We just recently celebrated our 1-year anniversary, and it's a group of artists and writers coming together to get their feet wet, get some experience, dealing with layouts, learning the ropes of, how to do pencils and inks, get it really professional, and also to help set up a network. We've got a couple projects in the works where we're working with more established people in the comics industry, the comics field, like False Story, or there's a couple other people, and their names are blanking on me, but people who live in Michigan or are from Michigan who kind of want to help give a hand up to other folks.
Right. And I noticed on the website you have some stores, some comic shops in Bay City, Mid Saginaw.
Yeah. Now, hopefully, we're going to get some copies at other stores, but when it releases in mid-May, people can definitely pick it up at Collector's Corner in Midland, Cashman's Comics in Bay City, and at Coy's Comics in Saginaw. And actually, Steve Shar owns Coy's Comics.
Great.
I don't mean to interrupt, but
Sure.
Greg, you might know who's the guy from Michigan State that he made it big in comics. I mean, and huge. He was like the
Who?
What?
I think you're thinking of Jeff Johns.
Yes, I think that's it. He was the Grand Marshal for Homecoming either last year or the year before.
That's right.
Yeah. What did he get? Did he get into Marvel or DC?
DC. He's I think he is the chief creative officer at DC right now. He's had some pretty influential runs on like Green Lantern. He's done stories for Superman. He just ended a run on Superman. Aquaman, taken on a number of stuff. I have his stuff here, but I don't need to promote him nearly as much as the other people.
Right. Yeah, he's pretty well to do already.
Yeah. He doesn't need any help from me.
Now, wasn't he? I was getting conflicting reports on this. Wasn't he influential on the Batman versus Superman?
Yeah.
And the fact that it was part of it was shot here in East Lansing.
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct. Also, I'm not current on Green Lantern, but he had a Muslim Green Lantern who came from Dearborn, Michigan, to take on the Green Lantern mantle for a while.
Oh, really?
But I can't say a whole lot about that. I read a couple issues, but apparently that's what most people did and lost the thread of it, I guess.
Okay.
Huh. So continue on with the Michigan Comics Collective. I was going to ask you, have you heard of Flint Comics?
Yes, I have. I've met those guys. It was a couple years ago. Really nice guys.
Uh-huh. And I don't know, it seemed like a good fit between you guys, or is there?
Honestly, I haven't been to a con in probably about 2 years. So I'm going to the Motor City one, and that's going to be my first one in, like 2.5 years. So I haven't been as networky as I'd like to be.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I have one more person that I'd like to talk to about Wild Bullets, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, sure. The letterer and colorist is Sarah Souls, who, with her husband, is in charge of Illustration Studios. and they put out this comic book here, Hank Steiner, Monster Detective, which was written by Scott Schmidt, and her husband Tyler Souls did the pencils and inks, and she did the colors and lettering.
And are they from Michigan?
Really good book. If people ever get, it's giant monsters running around in beanies. They're from Michigan. They live in Grand Rapids. Sarah and Tyler both graduated from the Kendall College of Art and Design. So really top-notch, high-quality, good people.
Nice. I'll check them out definitely. I live not far from there, so not that I have to live close to them to read their book, but.
Yep, I know. I can get links to this, but they got this up on their Etsy webpage, and people can buy a copy there.
Oh, okay. Killustration Studios. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. All right. And what other projects you working on? Anything you want to share?
I've got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, sure. Right now, the big thing that I'm working on is Monstrous with Ken Lamuk. And I also have, it's kind of corny, but I've got another monster-related project that I'm working on with Eric Reichenbach. He's been on Survivor twice, and that pertains to the story. I'm not just name-dropping. That project is called Last Monster Standing, and the basic pitch for that is giant monsters invade Tokyo, and then they get their own reality show.
Okay.
A lot of squabbling, a lot of fighting. It's kind of like, Godzilla, Mothra, Mechagodzilla, all those kinds of guys, except they've got names like Kyle and Anna and stuff like that. Giant robot says, I'm not here to make friends, that kind of thing.
Definitely original.
Yeah.
Well, they ever?
Thanks.
Yeah,
that's awesome. All right, here's kind of a question. So the Beige Planet podcast is about just like everyday people and their artistic endeavors, So you have a day job, and then you have a life outside of work, and then you do all this stuff. I mean, working your day job is hard enough. How come you do all this stuff? This extra comics and writing
and stuff.
Well, right, yeah. I got to say, my secret is that I'm actually really awesome. So if you're not awesome, I could try to teach awesome. But no.
I've got my own level of awesome.
I would guarantee +5 awesome. So I spend a lot of time, as I'm sure you can relate, that and something's got to give, and usually what winds up giving is some of the me time that I might spend, reading books or watching movies or watching TV. I wind up spending a lot of that time instead working on projects, writing stuff, revising stuff, contacting people, which is a lot of. But it doesn't get the movies watched, right?
Right. Yeah, I know. It takes dedication. Okay, so enough about you. Now let's talk about us. No, I'm just kidding. But we were talking earlier. Al's written a screenplay. You're a professor of. Say it again. What do you teach? Sorry.
Our crack research team wasn't involved this time.
No, I don't want to misspeak, because at one point you were a screenwriter, teaching screenwriting, right?
Yes. I taught screenwriting at Kalamazoo College for a number of years, and right now I'm teaching English and communications at Davenport University. It's mostly like composition courses, professional writing, the occasional humanities class, stuff like that.
Right.
There's a curriculum established there they don't really have creative writing courses, but I am going to be teaching an intro to film studies course over the summer.
Okay, that's awesome. I want to frame this question, because Al has got a great screenplay, Thorns of Rose. I've read it. I love it. I think it's great. And then Al and I wrote a short film together called The Train Job, and I think Al's a fantastic writer. Okay, but Al has an approach to his writing endeavors. He's got this screenplay, okay, and how many times have you revised it, Al?
12.
12. All right. I think Al should write another one, or maybe some other stuff, and keep writing and keep submitting and coming up with just completely new and wild stuff. But
Well, I've got another one that's halfway done, but here's my problem. I don't know, Greg, if you've ever come across this. Have you got, in any of your projects, whether it's screenwriting or your comics, have you become so invested in one that you can't move past it until you reach some level of completion? I mean, where it's out there, it's done, there's nothing more to do, it's published, whatever.
how do you move on?
Yeah, how do you move on? 'Cause that's my problem right now.
Well, I think that the polite word for what you're talking about is obsession, right?
Yeah,
and
okay.
it's good. It's good. It's good because then you're your own best advocate, right? And you kind of keep pushing. But I agree with Paul that, it's always good to, if you can, have a lot of choices at the buffet so that, if somebody's like if you're writing a Western, for instance, and somebody's like, oh, I hate Westerns. When you can say, well, I got this other thing that, you might like that's about something different. But in terms of how to stop obsessing, I probably don't have advice.
Well, see, I got another one which I adapted from a little-known Frank Herbert book. It was his only non-science fiction book he ever wrote, called The White Plague. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm not familiar. I mean, I know who Frank Herbert is, right? But
Okay.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, like I said, it's a little known. Very few people have ever heard of this book. I'm adapting it. I've updated it to modern times. But I've gotten halfway through it. I know how I want it to end. But Thorns of Rose is always in the back of my mind.
Al, I didn't mean to. I know you've written other stuff, and
I know. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. I think Thorns of Rose is good. So even if it doesn't get published.
I think what Paul is saying is, I'm okay, you're okay.
Yeah.
But we were talking earlier about, well, you were asking me what it's titled The Thorns of Rose, my baby, the one I'm obsessing over. And it's a multi-ethnic atheist female. That's my main character, and the story is through her eyes. She's kidnapped, and then it goes through her life as how she becomes the woman that she is as an adult. But it starts at age 8 when she loses her parents, and it starts flashing back and forth between her growing up and her captivity, and then culminates with the big rescue attempt.
Okay.
I've sent it out. Got excellent critiques on it. A little advice here, a little advice there, which I've tried to make adjustments for. But like I was telling you before we went on, it's just I can't get the right people to look at it. And I think for me, it's either, even if someone were to say, absolutely not, we're not going to buy this off you, it sucks, that would, I think, help me move on.
Well, I haven't seen it, but if you'd like, I could tell you it sucks. I mean,
I would love for you to read
I'm a nice guy.
Right. When we're done here, we can make arrangements. I would love for you to read it.
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
It's something that what inspired the story was I think it was the first Iraq War, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, I agree.
There's been
there
so
was
many.
there was a reporter for the Christian Science Monitor that was kidnapped,
Hmm.
and America, we need to help her and blah blah blah. I started questioning. I'm an atheist, so I started questioning. Well, what if an atheist was kidnapped? How would America react? Would it would still be would be still fighting for this person's life? Would we invest as much? And then there was so that's basically how the story was born, just from that incident. There's a lot of me in the main character. Like I said, she's multi-ethnic, half black, half white. Obviously, the atheist part. She goes through foster care system. I never went through the foster care system, but I am adopted. So a little bit of that influence. And I had one guy told me, maybe, I don't know if you can, he didn't go into detail, but he said I covered the 3-act play perfectly.
Okay.
Now, consciously, I never did that. I have no idea what he's talking about. I wrote a story, and it was, I think it took me, first draft took me roughly about 6-7 months to come up with, and now it's been, I don't know how many years, 12 complete drafts later.
Is that do you find that to be a lot, Greg, or?
Honestly, it depends on the project. There's
Right.
stuff where I sat down, I banged it out, and I'm like, that's really good.
Right.
And that's very much the minority. That most of the time, I'm not happy with anything ever.
Well,
So
a good example, Paul, would be the.
a lot of times, 12 seems like a reasonable number. It doesn't seem.
I think it is too, Al. I mean,
Well,
you're okay, and I'm okay.
To give you an example, The Sixth Sense was written 21 times.
Right. I know. Yeah. You just can't.
Yeah.
And you get, those guys get like they get writers, like you guys.
Yeah.
Come in and make revisions and just make it super tight, Yeah. But
that's well, you know what? That's also one of my biggest fears is somebody comes up and says, and I don't know if you've experienced this or if this is a fear of yours too, is that they come in, they want your story, but then they set your story in a room with about 20 other writers.
Right.
And then when it's done, it's nothing like what you wrote. They keep completely change it.
Have you ever collaborated on the writing, Greg?
I've done some collaboration, and collaboration I think is usually it involves a lot of growing pains, but I think that the end product is usually a better product. I actually, for the second volume of the second anthology for the Michigan Comics Collective, I did just what you were talking about earlier. I adapted somebody else's work and made it into a short script that will be turned into a comic. And I think it's probably better than what I could have come up with on my own, and I think it's better than what the original author could have come up with on his own. But it is one of those things where it's not the same as what he did, and it's not exactly what I would have done on my own either. So there is some of that compromise that you're saying, and I suppose that if it were taken into a room with 20 writers, and they're paying you, you should have such problems, right?
Yeah.
No, true. But I was going to say, Paul and I just recently, I think we went through that with our little short movie, The Train Job. He calls up, I want to do a Western. And I'm like, I'm sitting there stumped. What do you mean you want to do a Western?
Hey, it was a great experience for me.
Right.
Because I never would have thought of this story. I'm not a writer.
So I came up with a basic storyline, sent it to Paul, and he was all flustered about it. But then I guess he had some epiphany somewhere along the way, and added this whole new element to it that I never even considered. And I think it came out well. Exactly what you were saying. He came up with something that I wouldn't have.
The sum of the parts is, or the sum of the parts is greater than. What's that saying?
something.
Yeah, that's
It all
it's
worked
almost
out.
just like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
good. You're good.
Yeah.
The sum was greater than the parts. Damn.
Sum was greater than the whole of the whole was greater than the sum of the parts.
That's it, right there.
That's it. That's what it was. Awesome.
Oh,
Do you,
yeah.
do you,
So,
you have anything else you want to talk about, Greg?
That's the basic gist of things that people can check out the Michigan Comics Collective. They can buy the anthology now, and we've got some exciting projects coming up with the horror anthology for Halloween, and the second volume coming out later this year, as well as this one shot, and there's going to be some one shots down the line as well. So it's one of those things to stay tuned with and
Awesome.
your ear to the ground. So it's exciting times to be able to see it, and I'm really looking forward to having a copy in my hot little hands next month.
Yeah, that's cool. It's always fun when you get the actual finished product in your hand. I was gonna buy. I'm not kidding you. I was gonna buy Monstrous a couple months ago, but I got 3 volumes of The Walking Dead, the first 3 volumes for Christmas. And I love it. It's awesome. But I only got through half of the first one so far. And so
Sure.
I just thought, I can't keep adding books to the stand next to my bed, you know. I got to wait until I can read some of these. So, I know, look at that.
Rainforest here behind me, right?
Yeah.
So
I was
my
gonna
environment is irreversible.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. That's an awesome display you got there. Hey, so we're near the end of the show where we have this recurring segment where you just try to think of something that happened recently. This has nothing to do with anything. It's just random. Some recent event that's funny or interesting or not even that, and tell us about it. Just a quick blurb.
Okay, I can do not interesting. I'm sure I can do that, right? So here's kind of a quirky sort of a thing. This was a while ago, so I don't think it was connected to the podcast, but I had a very, very vivid dream where I was meeting Orson Welles, a young Orson Welles, and he was like, "I'm so excited to talk to you," and I was like, "I'm so excited to talk to you too." And I was telling him all these ideas and all this great stuff. And then he says, "Now show me the manuscript." I'm like, "All right." And I'm like, "I don't have the manuscript." And he's like, "I'm so sorry." And I went, "Ah!" And I woke up.
That's cool. Very well done. Well done. Al, you got anything?
Today I went and saw It Follows.
Yeah, I really want to see that.
Well, then I don't know if you want my review.
Oh no!
Don't give a spoiler. Don't spoil.
I'm not going to give any away. I'm not going to give any of the story away. My rating of it, I gave it 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It had great potential. Great. Here's the thing. It had a good premise, but I think there's a. And I'm not going to say what I think the hidden message was. I want to see if you come up with the same.
Okay.
But they did some things extremely well. There's some scenes that, even though everything is casual, it's freaky.
Yeah, it's very unsettling from what I've heard.
Yeah, it's very, very, very unsettling. And when you go see it, I think you'll immediately know what I'm talking about. It's just, it basically, it'd be like us right now. We're having a conversation, and the camera is circling around us, as each person talks. But what you need to do is you need to watch the background.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Watch what's going on around in the background. And that's what they did that really well. I was very impressed with that. I was.
I don't want Hulk to sneak up on me or anything like that.
But we went and saw it. They were advertising it as the scariest movie in decades.
Okay.
that you can. I'm gonna go ahead and give away that spoiler. No.
No, you didn't. There was too much hype. Too much hype for you.
Yeah, I think it got way too much hype.
That's another Michigan filmmaker.
Well, you know what? That's the other thing. That's what boggled my. I went with the guy I work with, and throughout the movie, he's looking at me, going, "Is this shot here in Michigan?" Because we're the scenery. We're looking around at, like this looks really familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to check out the license plates on the cars.
Right.
And I'm going, well, that looks like a Michigan plate, but I couldn't, you never get a clear shot of the license plates in any scene whatsoever. And
I can't remember the director's name, but he directed another one that's called something like The Myth of the American Sleepover. That was a comedy. It was also set in Michigan. So.
Oh, okay. But yeah, there's these scenes where they're walking through just these, these slums, and I'm thinking, dude, this looks like Detroit.
Yeah.
And it's not until near the end with about 10 minutes left in the movie, do they finally reveal where exactly they are. The other cool thing too, about the movie is the props and the sets. You can't figure out what era this is taking place in. Because there's a lot of contradiction going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing he never gives away, is when exactly is this happening? Because there's old 1970s cars, but then all of a sudden you'll see something in the 2000s come cruising by.
Mm-hmm.
The TVs are old tube TVs. They're black and white TVs, and they're watching these horrible, horrible B-grade movies.
Uh-huh.
Throughout the whole movie. They always but then there's a girl with those little powder cases.
Mm-hmm.
She has one that looks like a sunflower,
Okay.
except it's an e-reader.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it's, like I said, it's very confusing about
Twilight
when this
Zone.
Right. There's a lot of contradiction going on with what you just see in the set. Oh, and there's whoever was the set director needs a freaking Oscar for the detail in one scene. Greg, do you plan on going to see it soon?
I have to now.
All right. I'm not going to give it away. Other than I'm going to tell you when about the time it takes place, they're going to look for a character named Hugh. They go up into his room. The detail, when I saw this room, I just busted out laughing because it was awesome. When we go off air, Paul, I'll tell you what it was.
Oh no!
All right,
you're going to go see it.
You can't talk about the movie any longer for anybody that's going to go see it, because you're going to get them spoil it.
I'm telling you right now, if that set director doesn't get an Oscar, it's rigged.
All right.
Here's mine.
All right, go ahead.
I was at work. I don't have a very good sense of smell. It just doesn't work most of the time. But from time to time, I get like an odor stuck up in my sinuses or something. I don't know. Have you ever had that happen and it just stays with you all day long?
No, I shower.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I was at work, and this guy, he went to the bathroom, and then he came out, and I think the odor kind of lingered with him, and it, and I was like, dude, wow. And then, a few minutes later, I took a drink of my water, and my water tasted like nasty, because I think that odor was stuck up in my sinuses. And so I thought, good grief, what did the dude do? Like fill my cup with toilet water or something? So anyway, later that evening, I was at home drinking water, and my 13-year-old, he's standing there in my way or something, and and I took a drink and I said, "Hey, this guy at work, I think he filled my cup with toilet water," and my 13-year-old looks at me like just a blank look, like that was not even a big deal. No smile, no nothing, just meh. And then carried on. I mean, I just thought that was very disturbing. Like that would be something, not. I thought it was shocking, and he thought it wasn't. So now
he is 13.
Right? I know exactly.
At 13, nothing surprises me. He's probably like, you don't know what I've done to your water for years.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like I gotta hide my toothbrush, and Anyway, that was the highlight of my week.
Speaking of which, Paul, my son Raphael turned 24 today. So happy birthday to Rafi.
Hey, happy birthday, Rafi.
If he'll ever sit down and watch this, but probably not.
That's awesome. All right, this has been the Beige Planet Podcast. I'm Paul Pate.
I'm Al Lawrence.
Greg, thanks for coming on, man. We look forward to we look forward to seeing more from you, dude. And we might crash the Comic-Con at the Motor City place.
All right.
Come check out your pals. So, farewell. Have a good one.